when you talk about the fact that there's hundreds of tools and hundreds of decisions, how do you begin mapping that, especially when you're trying to build agentic approaches, right? Because we still have to say, if we're building an agentic approach, we still have to map the process as though a human were doing it in some way, shape, or form, right? We need to know what the inputs are. We need to know what the outputs are. We need to know what the objectives are. We can then kind of put some guardrails around it in terms of what the capabilities are, what data sources, what the actions can be. You don't want your agent to decide that the best way to increase, volume sales of a product is to give it away for 10 cents, right? When it costs $100. So you have parameters, you have guardrails, but how do you begin to structure that?
Yeah, no, it's very challenging right now. So what we've done is we looked up, why people were using these proven strategy in vertical. So in e-commerce, everyone was using CDP to do segmentation and activation for personalization. So in order to do that whole journey, you have bring the data, unify, then do something, and then you create playbooks, and journeys. And we kind of map that whole process from the data source to all the way to activation. And we brought in this concept in iCustomer called ODA loop, as you can imagine, observe, orient, decide, and activate, which is basically an always on audience. So if I have a unified data fabric of my audience in my data platform, then there are a bunch of agents which are observing all the events happening for the customer profiles I'm concerned or prospect profile I'm concerned. And I'm seeing all their journey. I've automated their journey in a kind of optimized way. We have continuously deciding, what is optimized decision making for there. And then there are guardrails, there are escalation paths to human to come look at it. You wanted to activate an ad campaign, have a certain budget set, and you want to tweak it every time if it is not working, you want it to stop.
Messaging,
Yeah, that's the messaging. We try to focus more on data observability and events observability and customer and nuances in a more, bespoke situation for each tenant, even though this is multi-tenant kind of a scalable way. But ODA loop is a learning